Greeting guys, my name is Jerry Moya Zungu, aka the Child Adventure. Today I'm hanging solo. So you guys, thank you for the support. I can see you're subscribing, I can see you're commenting. Remember to always follow us on YouTube, on Facebook. So today what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the current situation in the country called Zimbabwe. That's where I come from. Down there in Watomba, so we just want to talk about how the currency is not performing well, the Zim dollar. I think those who are reading newspapers, those who are watching the markets, currently we're talking about the Zim dollar is hovering at more than $3,000 on the black market, which is the real situation on the ground. But yes, we can blame each other, the currency is bad, you can choose who to blame. But at the end of the day, what we just want to analyze here is how is this currency affecting an entrepreneur? What are the challenges the entrepreneur is facing because of these currencies? Or what are the opportunities also which are coming up with these currencies? So firstly, I would like to talk about what is really happening to the other sectors of the economy, especially the guys in retail. Like if you see the supermarkets they sell in RTGS. I think at one point last Sunday we noticed one of the big companies or one of the biggest supermarkets. I was in town on Sunday and I was working in the office. When I passed through that supermarket, it was still open, but later on after about 3 hours it was closed. Then I asked why was it closed. Then they said someone had came and said to them the rate is at around 4.5. So there's I heard that the previous weeks when the rate started going up, some vendors came and they took most of the electrical gadgets because they were undervalued, because in Zim dollar value it was cheap, so they had to resell it outside. So they just said no, we're going to lock out everyone and we're going to close shop at 11 a.m. These are some of the effects, these are some of the disadvantages, and what is really happening in the economy. Things are a bit tough. So on the same Sunday, I went to one of the biggest giants in the fast food sector, and when I went there trying to buy some pizza, they said no, you cannot buy pizza using Zim dollar, you have to buy pizza using US dollar. Then I asked why. They said our swipe machine is not working, our EcoCash is not working. So these are the challenges people are facing. So let us look at the downside, especially in the retail sector. I was so fortunate to deal with other big beverage companies. So you see what is really happening is for me to supply into the retail, or for other people like who are doing talking of your dishwashing liquids, we're talking of your shoe polish. If you are going to supply your beverages in a supermarket, so you can supply your beverage, but these supermarkets, they'll tell you that no, we've got payment terms, because it's more like you're doing your things on consignment. I used to work for a company called Spar at some time. I think that was around 2011. I used to run a supermarket. I used to be an accountant in a supermarket, so I know how these things operate. So like what you do, you send your order to the supermarket. Like if you want to supply your shoe polish, if you want to supply your dishwashing liquid, be it any product which you want to supply in the supermarket. So they say, yes, you're giving us your products, but I'm going to sell them, and we can only pay for those products after 30 to 60 days. But most of these big giants is 60 days. So just imagine, probably you have actually the cost of manufacturing a beverage is around $1 in USD, but probably in Zim dollar, for argument's sake, it was at 1,500 Zim dollars. Then after about 60 days, boom, that same product which you have supplied, the invoice, it was at 1,500 Zim dollar, but it's now the same cost is now at 3,000. So just imagine the losses manufacturers are actually suffering. They're suffering a lot of losses. Yes, a supermarket is also incurring some losses, but just imagine what is happening to a manufacturer. So I feel you manufacturers, you're operating in a difficult environment. Shout out to everyone who is doing manufacturing, because it's difficult to survive in Zimbabwe. It's difficult to survive in this current environment, because things are difficult. It's very difficult to replace those raw materials. So I just want to tell you, I just want to give you an example. So for someone probably to have a beverage done, there are other products which are supposed to be imported. And for you to import those products, you're importing those products using a US dollar. Yes, we're saying we are going to buy money on auction. I think that was introduced as a novel idea, introduced by the government. But there's a lot of backlog which is there on the auction. And most of these manufacturers, they're supposed to actually pay money. They're supposed to get their US dollar on the black market, or they're supposed to get this US dollar through other means. So imagine after getting your US dollar, you put your product in a supermarket at a certain value, thinking that or measuring that probably my rate is going to increase by 50 to 100%, but boom, the rate increases by 200%. That is a real challenge. That is that is actually a beast in this house called Zimbabwe, and this is a real challenge for the manufacturers. It's a real challenge for the other players in the economy. But let us look at one of the biggest beverage companies, which I'm going to mention, Varun Beverages, how they've managed to supply. I think if you notice currently in our economy, Aqua Clear is dominating the sector. Mirinda is dominating the industry. Pepsi is dominating the industry. All these products are manufactured by Varun Beverages. And what have they done? The product availability. What they have actually solved is you can get your Pepsi in the ghetto, you can get your Pepsi in the, even when I think today I was actually in Borodale, you could see Pepsi's days dominating the whole sector. How have they managed to achieve this? I think one of their strategies, they've used the constituents which I represent, the vendors. So what they've done, they've bypassed the supermarket in a way, or yes, they're still supplying their products in supermarkets, but they're saying their products are supposed to be available to the consumer. So it means, yes, if I want to drink Mirinda today, if I want to drink Pepsi, instead of getting into Pick n Pay, instead of getting into OK, I can just get that product from a vendor. Just look at it. You cannot move more than a kilometer in the city of Harare without getting a Pepsi card. So Barakushantisama vendor, they're actually using the vendors in order for them. And imagine when they're supplying a vendor, they're going to supply this vendor, probably they'll give him a case of Pepsi, and end of the day, this vendor is already paying. It's no longer 60 days. They are paying in real value, whether it's Zim dollar, whether it's US dollar, but they're getting their money in real value. So these guys, they can easily replace that product and they can make money in the process. If you notice, currently Pepsi is actually $1 for 1 liter. Imagine the whole liter of Pepsi is selling at 50 cents. So guys, this is what is happening in the Zim economy. This is what is happening in the currency. I think we'll take a short break, then you can meet after the break. Please don't forget each other. Welcome back. So I'm hanging solo today and Jerry. So just before the break, we're talking about how the currencies managed to cause havoc in the economy of Zimbabwe. But I think we're now used to this. It has been about 23 years of our currency. I think we've used Beira check. Most of the guys who were born in 2000, they don't know anything about Beira check. And probably some of the people, they don't even know that now as Zimbabweans, we've went through a lot of things. Like when we now know most of the monetary terms which are not even known by the Americans or the British. Who knows about the Nostro? I think our currencies have changed from Zimbabwean dollars. Some of them, they've actually called it Beira checks. At one point, we are using Zimbabwean dollars with ZWL, whatever it means, I don't know. Then we've used several terms. We now know IMTT, intermediary monetary. We now know a lot of terms. Those are the taxes and some of the people, they want to call them Minister Mtuli's tax is 2%. But anyway, what we're just talking about is the challenges which are facing as Zimbabweans and the challenges we are facing in the economy of Africa. But in these challenges, how most people might ask, yes, the general business environment is a bit tough, but as a person also, or as a company, the company which I'm also running, because I'm also an entrepreneur, we are also facing challenges. Like, for example, just 2 months ago, our landlord just said, no, you're no longer paying in Zim dollars, you're paying in US dollars. And I think our rental was actually increased, judging from the value which you're paying in US dollar, it was increased by almost 60% or to 70%. But as an entrepreneur, how do you need to behave in this kind of economy? Are you going to panic? Are you going to throw in the towel and say probably you're not going to survive? Or you're supposed to be thinking outside the box, or to remove the box and say gloves are off? The reason why I like this kind of economy, the reason why I like difficulties is because most of the times when they've got difficulties, most of the people, they've got a tendency of retreating. Most of the people, they think in terms of saving. Most of the people, they think in terms of cutting costs. But how can you actually manage to survive in this kind of environment? I think it's a matter of going all out, like what Varun Beverages is doing. I think in this kind of environment, they've managed to even expand their plans. Right now, I heard that they now have a plant which can do 33,000 bottles in a minute, which means they are going all out. They want to dominate the sector. It's the time to dominate the sector. Whilst when everyone is saying, when they meet in the boardrooms, people are busy talking about elections. By the way, the president has actually announced the date of the elections, 23 August. Zimbabweans are going to the polls. Good luck, whoever is going to win. So, but anyway, instead of focusing on that, yes, focusing on the election date might affect us as entrepreneurs, but I think it will affect more on the politician side of things, because the politicians are the ones who are going to be voted for. They've got much to lose rather than the entrepreneur. So if we spend more time talking about elections, talking about the difficulties in the economy, the difficulties will be there, and the difficulties are never going to go away anytime soon. So how are you supposed to behave, or what are you supposed to do as an entrepreneur? Number one, don't focus on cutting costs. Focus on increasing the revenue. So I would rather die fighting rather than to die trying to save, or to say probably whatever you have right now, you rather spend it on marketing. You rather use the biggest budget on marketing right now. It's the time to gain the market share. Whilst everyone is saying the economy, the environment, everything is against me, that's the time to move. Don't go why am I saying so? Time when we relax. When things are okay, people start to notice that no, the reason why I'm a failure, even right now, if you're going to ask a 40-year-old, if you're going to ask a 35-year-old, if you're going to ask a 25-year-old, probably who doesn't even own a bed, who doesn't even own a bicycle, they are quick to say no, we're in a difficult environment, and it makes them feel good. They use that as an excuse. But just imagine someone who's in a good economy, someone who's in a good environment, they'll start to notice that I'm the one who is to blame. I'm the one who is not doing enough. So right now, in this kind of economy, if you're going to have that, I can do it, I'm going to fight for whatever is going to happen, you are going to make a lot of money. You are going to fight these difficulties head on. To us, is actually we are concentrating on revenue. How can we increase our revenue? Are we going to increase our streams of revenue? Like most of the people, they've talked about 7 streams of income. It's a matter of saying, in this kind of environment, sometimes a product which was giving you a lot of money today, it might wake up tomorrow, it's no longer making sense producing that product. So it means every day, innovation, your business development side of things, your strategy is supposed to be working. You are supposed to be marketing. You're supposed to be having sharp salespeople in the market. You're supposed to have a lot of salespeople. I think when I was talking to one of these big beverage companies, I once trained this company with almost 6 to 7 salespeople only. And they were saying their duty is just to manage the accounts, making sure that probably if OK Zimbabwe needs their product, they're going to be able to connect with that salesperson, and they just supply those products or those beverages in the supermarkets. So instead of having 7 salespeople, you can see how I was comparing with Varun Beverages, which now have about 300 to about 500 agents who are in the market, salespeople who are trying to distribute the product, because it's no longer normal. We're no longer in the normal environment where you can relax in your company and say, we're just going to be account managers. Right now is the time to get into the market. If you're a manufacturer, instead of just depending on the supermarkets, instead of depending on the distributors, is the time to say, how can I distribute this product in Mtoko? How can I distribute this product in Watsomba? How can I distribute this product in Lupane? Not to depend on distributors, but right now is the time to depend on you, on yourself. So you really need to have an effective sales team. You really need to have an effective marketing team. It's the time to go all out. It's the time it's not the time to budget. It's the time to actually push and making sure that you've got more hands on the deck. You've got more people in the market. Your product is there in the market. It's the time to build brands. It's the time where you can take advantage of the situation. It's not the time to cry. Yes, the economy is collapsing. Yes, you can say the environment is collapsing, but I feel that is the time where you can solve the problem. Is the time of getting all these opportunities. Number 2, most of the people are going to say, how am I going to take advantage of this situation? Most of the people, most of the talent currently is on the move. In a fair environment or in a good environment, salaries are very high. Everyone is happy. But in this kind of environment, much of the talent is available. You can get most of the talented people, get them in your organization, grow brands which are going to be recognized in the next 20 years, grow brands which are going to be recognized in the next 50 years. We talk of most of these brands like Nash Paints, Chicken Slice, you talk of your Nyarazo. All these brands were developed or they started trading after 2000 when our economy was already bad. So there's nothing called a bad economy. End of the day, we can get opportunities in this kind of environment. I know, yes, you're saying, Jerry, what are you talking about? I'm facing difficulties, I'm failing to pay my rentals, I'm failing to pay my employees, but I just want to challenge you. Start scrutinizing your internal processes. Much of the problems which are happening in the organizations, 99% are internal problems. 1% are the external problems. So what I'm saying to you, when you think that yes is the economy, when you think that yes is the political environment, when you think that yes is because of the external forces, I'm saying to you that only comprises of 1% of your reason of why you are failing. Most 99% we are saying we are failing because we are not behaving as if we are people in Zimbabwe. We are behaving as if we are people in Europe. Number 3, if you are still opening at 8 and close shop at 5 in an environment which you are saying is difficult, you're joking, my brother, you're joking, my sister. Right now is the time to go all out. I think I was talking to this other panel beating company, shout out to Auxiliary. They've actually said we are going to introduce a 24-hour shift. Why? There are a lot of cars which needs to be repaired, but we are leaving work and we are closing shop at 5 and we are opening at 8 o'clock. How many hours are we losing? Look at how most of these developed countries are operating. They don't rest when there's work. They've got 24-hour shifts. But currently we are saying because of the economy is tough, we are no longer implementing the 24-hour shift. So if we are still working normally, if we are still behaving in a normal way in this kind of environment, management, directors, board of directors, we need to think again. We cannot continue blaming the government. We cannot continue putting blame on the external forces. end of the day, I've said it once before, any excuse will expire. There's no one, we're not going to say to, like, if I'm the founder or if I'm the CEO of the organization, after 25 years, I'm not going to say to my kids, we failed because the economy was bad. Just imagine, there were times when our grandfathers or our fathers were supposed to only marry a wife or supposed to wed a wife and get a house in Glenville and get a house in Highfields. But most of our fathers, they refused getting those houses. What they're saying, Andite Michel too, I'm supposed to have another house in the rural areas. But right now, can they say the reason why we don't have a house in town? It was because my son, I wanted to have a house in rural areas. It was a choice, but it was a dumb choice. But by then, it was a valid excuse. So currently, hakuna nherera, guys. Inotaura naye nasuti ndiri nherera ione 40 years. Vabereki vangu vakafa. That's why I'm where I am when you've got 40 or 45 years old. There's nothing like that. So every excuse in this life, every excuse in this economy, end of the day, that excuse will expire. Most of the people are moving in this kind of environment. So guys, I want to challenge you. We really need to go all out. It's not time to give excuses. Yes, we are facing challenges. Even me, I'm also facing challenges. But we really need to be tough. We really need to grow our economy. End of the day, so the politician is going to grow the economy. It's only the entrepreneur who's going to develop this economy. Why I'm saying it like this. The politician, the duty of the politician is to create an environment which is conducive for the entrepreneur to operate. But the reason why I'm saying an entrepreneurs is the onus of the entrepreneur to develop this economy. If unemployment is going to lower, it's because an entrepreneur has recruited one person from the street. So if you are recruiting one person from the street, you are doing good for your economy. And if the person who has been recruited is going to also recruit other people from the streets, everyone is now recruiting and we are growing our economy. So end of the day, I'm very passionate about developing the economy, not only the economy of Zimbabwe, but I'm passionate about developing the economy of Africa. So here is a podcast where we discuss everything business. So today, this is what this is my point of view, and I was hanging solo. You can also comment, you can critique, we can have a discussion about this. You can also mention the challenges which you are facing as an organization, or address them. I'm available also to answer and address them in the comment section. So remember to subscribe on our YouTube, to follow on my page Facebook is Jenny Monya Zungu, the Chartered Vendor. I'm also there on Instagram. I'm also there on TikTok, on LinkedIn, even on Twitter. So until next time, guys, it's your boy, the Chartered Vendor. Bye bye for now.